Say hi. Say hi. Okay. Hello guys, welcome back to Calgary Barbell. We are midweek in my first developmental block headed into nationals. This week I got back into my tiny little bench shirt and it was a lot of fun. I worked up to 210 kilos, which is 10 kilos more than I took for my third at my last competition, and it still wasn't enough weight to be able to touch. So I'm gonna have to get better and stronger, etc. to get that touch, but I'm really stoked because the presses felt good. I didn't bung up my shoulders, nothing like that. So the other thing I did Monday was I did my squats, and I'm up at 202 kilos, about 445 pounds for sets of 5. Definitely wasn't as consistent or pain-free as last week, but again, I learned more this week. So I was really focusing on my upper back, but at the expense of the tightness of my lower body. So what I had to do for my last set, which was incidentally my best set, was concentrate on my new cues for my upper back. And somebody asked, but the two things that I did with my upper back was I moved my grip a small distance in, maybe 2 fingers closer, and I moved the bar a tiny bit further down my back. And that seems to allow me to get my back a fair bit tighter. Once I sort of got the marriage of the upper back cues as well as what I usually do with my lower body, controlling my tempo, making sure I have adequate tightness when I hit the hole, that's when everything sort of clicked. My first set wasn't bad, but it was a little shaky. My second set actually hurt a fair bit, but I was tight in the upper back and just hitting the bottom every time. So I was getting loose and disoriented and things were getting out of position in the bottom, so that wasn't very good. Tuesday came in and did some raw deadlifts. I worked up to a single at 711, which is 322.5 kilos. I'm really happy with that as a starting point. It was probably a 7.5 RPE. And then I hit 8 sets of 5 at 262 kilos, which I think is about 578, 580, somewhere in there. A couple things I wanted to talk to you guys about today. First one, I signed up for nationals. It's official now. I will be competing raw and equipped. That's something I've been tossing around in my head for a while. There's a lot of guys in the raw division I really want to compete with, even if I'm not that competitive. I don't know where my squat's going to be, so I'm actually kind of nervous heading in, not knowing how my training is going to go, not knowing how I'm going to do, but it's kind of a good feeling at the same time. You know, there's a lot of really strong guys in my weight class, both raw and equipped, and I'm really looking forward to sort of button heads going up against the best of them. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that we are very excited to announce that as of the filming of this video, we are very close to the 5,000 subscriber mark. As a thank you to everybody who's supported us along the way, everybody who's shared or liked or commented on one of our videos, everybody who's subscribed or bought some of our apparel, we want to put together a couple of contests. We've gotten in contact with one of our sponsors at ercanada.com, and he's willing to put up some awesome Titan stuff that will be for grabs in these contests. We'll be releasing the details of this contest in the near future, so stay tuned for that. You won't want to miss it. The last thing I'm going to kind of jabber about here is we are releasing our Calgary Barbell toques. We've had a lot of interest and a lot of feedback saying they like the toque, they want the toque, so we're going to release them just like this, and you'll see them in the store December 1st. So getting to the question of the day, guys, we got a question here from Ivan. He asks what my thoughts are on the round upper back during the deadlift. So to answer your question, Ivan, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, I think if you're intentionally rounding your upper back on a deadlift, you should be an advanced lifter. One of the important things about doing a round back upper deadlift and performing it properly is being able to brace a slightly rounded position. If you're starting in a rounded position and ending in a much more rounded position, or transitioning to a much more rounded position throughout the deadlift, you're probably reducing your leverage, you're probably doing some things wrong that could potentially injure you in the future. The other thing worth mentioning when talking about rounding your upper back during a deadlift is conventional versus sumo. In my anecdotal experience, Much easier to lock out with the rounded back in a conventional deadlift versus a sumo deadlift. The leverages are very different. So in a sumo deadlift, you're gonna need that upper back extension when you get to lockout in order to be in a decent position to finish with the hips. In a conventional deadlift, I find you're in a much more favorable position to be able to pull your back through at the top of the lift. So if you're lifting sumo, probably not a good idea to round your upper back intentionally. And if your back is rounding, you should work on trying to straighten that out as per the sumo deadlift video tutorial that we did. Also, if you're doing conventional, probably not as big of a deal. That's not to say that pulling with a rounded back when you're deadlifting conventional is a perfect system or is always doable. Even myself, I pulled with a bit of a rounded upper back when I pulled conventional. And if you watch the footage from nationals last year, you'll see that on my 770 pull, my hips locked and I didn't have the upper back strength to pull through. More than likely because of my slightly compromised starting position. So long story short, when we're talking about round back deadlifting, we're looking at conventional, you can probably get away with it. Sumo, not a great idea. It's gonna give you a bit of a benefit off the floor, but it's gonna make your lockout harder. So once again, I want to extend a big thank you to everybody who follows along with this channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking our videos. Continue to leave comments below, ask us more questions, and welcome to our new subscribers. We will see you soon.